In this one, the bad boys want to retire, but after getting into an accident that wasn't their fault, they have to get together for one last ride in order to afford healthcare. Alright guys, I gotta be honest with you. I haven't seen Bad Boys 2.
You ain't seen Bad Boys 2?
I know, right? And no, I didn't watch Point Break first. I start with that, so you know going in that I have no previous knowledge of this series. I don't have any attachment to the characters. Despite this, however, I found the duo of Martin Lawrence and Will Smith incredibly likeable. This is where I felt the film was on top. Sure, it's enjoyable, but damn, are these characters charismatic. The obvious standouts are the bad boys, but honestly, I struggled to find a character I didn't like here. Everyone was just so damn likeable. Okay, maybe the villains were dickheads, but I mean that's the point. And sure, these guys were criminally underdeveloped, but they were still funny, and I gotta be honest, if you're here for character development, you're in the wrong place. Go see these films instead. For the rest of us who are here to see some action, damn, are we in for a good time. The set pieces here were cool as hell. Although at times it did feel like the writers had been playing way too much Uncharted, the environments actually played into the action, and all of this was reinforced with simple yet clear and effective camera movements. How these action scenes build up upon each other though is pretty weak. Most movies are structured like this. Bad Boys for Life is structured like this. I'm going to be honest, I thought that the movie was going to end around 30 minutes before it actually did, and I'm conflicted on this.
I don't know what the hell's going on in the most wonderful way.
That last clip I just used there, that's how I felt. It felt like the movie was ending, and then the film's like, nah, I saved the best action for last. For real, most of the action in this film was wildly over the top, and still great. But this last one made me sit back up in my seat. It's a genuinely good scene, if not a little dumb. You know what was dumb though? Great segue there. The score. It's like they did the edit to the temp tracks and then forgot to take the temp tracks out. The only reason I remember this score is because I've already heard it in every other generic action movie ever. Now that we've transitioned into things I didn't like, it's time to talk about the villains. And with that, it's spoiler time. Skip here to hear my recommendation. Bad Boys for Life is actually Gemini Man, but on that scale, Bad Boys is a Tarantino movie, and Gemini Man is worse than Gemini Man because it's being compared to a freaking Tarantino movie. Yes, the villain is Will Smith's son, and he's sent to kill him, and then they do that thing where at the end Will Smith and younger Will Smith make up, but instead of being fucking dumb and sending evil Will Smith to college, they send Dark Pit to actual prison. It makes some actual sense. I'm not sure how this whole thing plays into the previous movie, but for this film, it was serviceable. Okay, let's turn this back around. It's time to talk about an actual good twist. They kill the captain in this movie, and it actually got me. Even though, in retrospect, I probably should have seen it coming. Gotta say though, the captain sure didn't. It was actually a really sad moment, and it's all owed to the characters. If they weren't as charismatic as they are, this would not have worked. Period. Okay, one last thing. I want to touch on that thing I hinted at in the first line of this review. Will Smith gets shot up at the start of this movie, and we spend a good portion of time hoping that he'll recover in hospital. This is fucking dumb for a bunch of reasons. First of all, the movie plays it way too seriously. Yes movie, I'm sure you're going to kill one of your titular characters 10 minutes into the film. Then you have the reveal that Will Smith isn't dead. Everyone's crying, and it turns out that Will Smith has died, and I'm just kidding, come on. Of course he's alive, and they just reveal this by cutting to him? It struck me as very lazy. In a film as laid back as this, I felt something like this should have been played for laughs. When I think serious movies, I do not think of Bad Boys. I gotta say though, that laid back attitude really helped the rest of the movie. I laughed a fair few times. Some of this stuff was actually pretty funny, but, and big buts here, the jokes that work here are the fast jokes. If a joke goes on for more than 10 seconds in this film, I can assure you that it won't be funny. You know what else isn't funny? Almost 90% of you that watch this aren't subscribed, so I urge you to hit that subscribe button if you like what you're currently watching and want to see more. Okay, verdict time. Bad Boys for Life is a better than average action film with a lot of heart, but if I'm being completely real with you guys, it falls in with the Fast and Furious franchise. Is it good? Is it enjoyable? Yeah? The action is good, and the characters are way too likeable, but ultimately I'm not going to remember this movie. I'm not in a place to comment whether you'd like this if you liked Bad Boys 1 and 2, but I think that you would. It's definitely a fun movie, so I'd personally recommend it for a movie night with friends, but I would not recommend seeing this in theatres. Not because it's necessarily bad, but because the other movies in theatres are so goddamn good and this is the weakest choice by default. Last line. An actual line in this movie is, I'm hacking 4chan. Thank you for watching. Next week's review should be The Lighthouse. Also, start expecting some different videos to be popping up. I've actually had some ideas for once.